Hello friends, and welcome to a very special brand new video. As you might have seen from my social media posts and now from the title of this video, my shop is finally open. And after many years of creating and sharing my artwork, something that has always been in the back of my mind has been to find ways of creating high quality and beautiful products that I could hold in my hands and be proud of. I wanted to start small with something that meant a lot to me, that I've been drafting for a really long time, and from that came the Dreamy Calendar that's out now. So today I wanted to celebrate it with you by first sharing a little bit more of the process that got me here, including creating this product and opening my shop, and also just have a cozy drawing session with you and chat a little bit about a few topics that have been on my mind, since I don't do that as much here on YouTube. So let's get started with how I planned and organized this project that is so dear to me with the help of today's sponsor, Milanote. If you haven't heard of it before, Milanote is a tool that helps you organize just about anything, including your own artwork, your creative projects, and in this case, my website and shop. And as someone who is used to gathering all of my resources and inspirations in different places, like writing pads and having dozens of different tabs open in my browser, if you know, you know, this tool really makes sure you can have it all in one organized and even beautiful place. You can create your own project boards with everything you can think of, like images, links, notes, sketches, to-do lists, documents, and even draw directly on top of your board if you want to. It's all really intuitive and easy to use, where you can just drag and drop wherever you want and place it wherever you want. Plus, you can even personalize everything to your aesthetic and make it all beautiful with different color options for your elements and even backgrounds. I also really love how you can just save pictures directly from the internet onto your boards with their web clipper extension, or you can just grab them automatically and put them wherever you want, even on Pinterest, which I use so much. It's such a handy tool. Plus, if you're like me and the empty space really scares you to the point where you just don't know where to start, you can even use their available templates, like I did at first, and just adjust things to your own liking. Now, let me show you how I use Milanote to stay organized when I open my shop. The thing that really inspired me to change things up was my previous website, which you might have seen in different clips in the past. It was really simple and streamlined, but I just felt like it was time to switch things up a little bit and spice them up with my current aesthetic so that I could create a nicer, more beautiful place for people to find and reach me. And from there, I knew I could set this new aesthetic and use it too when creating my shop and even the branding for my new product. So I chose my brand new colors, which was so cool that I could save the exact ones and reference them at a later time. And I built some boards filled with visual inspiration that matched the aesthetic that I wanted to go for, which sort of matches the feel and mood of my current artwork as well, to keep me inspired and make sure I was going in the right direction. To be honest, just thinking about getting started at first, I was a little all over the place and overwhelmed. It just felt like a really ambitious thing to do with all of the work that I already had going on. So this genuinely helped me a lot. I also got to organize all of the copy I would need to add to my website and stay on top of my to-do lists and important deadlines. And I really love how it turned out in the end. It feels like a more inviting, cohesive, and even professional space. After that, I could finally move on to my shop, where I got to organize my new products, brainstorm new ideas, and plan my timeline for the grand opening. This was a pretty stressful process. I wanted to make everything perfect and quickly realized that I wouldn't be able to make things exactly the way I wanted to. There were a lot of things to consider, different retailers to get test prints from, shipping options to test out, so it was very helpful to make the important decisions and keep them here to not get lost. From the visuals to my task lists, time goals for each step of the way, and even organizing my calendar illustrations in order to find a visual balance and overall feel for the finished product. It's so nice and neat to see them all clearly and neatly put together. There was a lot of trial and error, but I finally found a result that felt just right. I also got inspired by other websites that had a lot of fun designs, but mostly realized that the clean look and ease of use would be the best options since I don't have that many products just yet. Maybe in the future, I'll use some of these ideas for fun headers and for the bottom of the website. That's one of my favorite parts of using Milanote, is the fact that you can save all your projects and come back to them later. So if I have any ideas that I end up not being able to use, or if I need to remember any of the information I saved up, it's always organized at the homepage right as I open Milanote. I've actually used Milanote before to plan my artwork as well, so it's really a tool that can work in so many scenarios. Whether you're an artist working on an ambitious drawing or project, if you want to redesign your workspace, or finally bring your dream shop to life, you can do it with the help of Milanote. Also, if you're working with a team of artists or even with a brand or client, you can easily share your projects, get feedback from your team, and work on them together. It's a great tool for keeping everything organized and everyone updated at all times. And if you want to try Milanote for yourself for free with no time limit, it's available right now. So sign up for a free Milanote account using the link in the description down below and start working on your next project today. Thank you Milanote for sponsoring this video. You know, it's crazy how long I've wanted to do this. And since I'm from Portugal, things here seem a little bit different since my main audience is from the US or from other international countries. So shipping and handling of physical products is really tough and ambitious. I actually, believe it or not, I had a very small shop where I sold physical, personalized portraits and sent them all over the country. And it was really fun and exciting, but it was also really difficult to make sure that everything went okay. And so I never actually got to do this with my own artwork and my creative artwork. It's so important to me, so it means so much. 2 years ago, I didn't even believe that I could use my own artwork for freelancing and make a living out of it. So now having a chance to do things like this just fills my heart with so much hope and joy. But it just makes me so aware that there's always going to be so many new things to learn. It's overwhelming and scary and exciting all at the same time. But at the end of the day, I just have to say how grateful I am. I really loved how these calendars turned out. I freaked out when they arrived. They're super sturdy and the printing was just as bright as I hoped it would be. So I'm really happy about that. I did want to make sure we'd have international shipping, so I found a way to do it. But in case you have any questions about how these were made, how long it'll take for you to get one, everything is laid out in the FAQ section at the bottom of the shop. So I hope you enjoy these calendars as much as I do and get a chance to get one if you like them. Of course, if it's not your thing right now, that's absolutely okay too. Just by being here, you're already supporting me and my work so much, and I'll always appreciate that so much. But if you'd like to get to know a bit more about these, you can check my link down below in the description. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. So let's get cozy, draw a little bit, and chat about a few things that have been on my mind lately. So this year has been a lot in so many ways. I'm really organized and always plan out ways to grow not only my platform and income, but also my skills and set my goals for each year. But I tend to forget about the things that are unexpected, how my life has changed, how my mental health hasn't been the greatest lately, and how pursuing my dream has been the greatest and most rewarding thing I've ever done, but also the most uncertain pursuit that has kind of led me in a path filled with fear and anxiety and this very deep sense of just feeling really lost at times. I really love the topics that I talk about here on YouTube because they are real and I know that they have been helpful to a lot of people in some ways. It feels a bit surreal because in the end it's just me talking to myself a little bit, but I really value the ability to be honest and open with the people that support me and show me so much kindness and understanding. That's why lately I've been really opening up on Patreon, where I've started to feel like I can truly be myself and be honest, you know? Here on YouTube, it's always scary because it's open for anyone to see. And I've definitely been really nervous before to open up about certain topics. But it has always been such a great and valuable experience in the end that I thought, after such a big year, which is still not over, but feels so close to being over, why not sit down and reflect a little bit with the people who have been supporting me for so long. It's fun how, for example, I've been making a post each month on Patreon about what I've been doing and how I've been feeling and my plans for the future. It's something I share with all my members, even the free ones, if you're interested in checking that out. But it's something that has really forced me to sit down and think about my decisions and the effects that this job has had on me. I honestly always struggle a little bit to be absolutely honest about what I'm going through, because the last thing that I want to come across is ungrateful. I still struggle a lot with imposter syndrome and guilt, but I also think that it's not right to hide the hardest parts of the job and make it look all glamorous and beautiful all the time. I don't want to sell this idea of the perfect experience for young artists that are just getting started as well. And I know that the internet and even the art world is filled with that. And I just don't know if I want to be part of that. At least not completely, since I do share my work in a nice, aesthetic, and purposeful way. I do love what I do, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's just that you will always find struggles in your life, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. I do want to preface this talk by saying that I am incredibly grateful for the good things I have in my life and for the hard parts of it too, because in the end, I'm still here, healthy and safe. And if you're listening to this, all I wish is that you are too. A good example of how I've opened up about my honest experience online is how I share with my patrons how I've had to start physical therapy recently for the consequences that acute stress and anxiety has had on my body. It has been the craziest experience to realize that you can hold so much of what you feel in your body in such a painful way that you might actually start thinking that maybe you physically hurt yourself by mistake in any other way. It was actually my dentist that figured out that I had a problem because I had an awful pain in my jaw and neck, and for some reason I thought it had something to do with my teeth or bones, but no, it was actually like from anxiety. The reality is I have very perfectionistic tendencies, and if I have the freedom to choose what to do with my time, and my absolute goal is to do the best I can with my creative work and find ways to make a good living out of it too, which is really stressful, I will use all of my time and resources to get there, including my health, unfortunately. I know that I don't do it on purpose, and it can even happen through the smallest choices you make from your day-to-day life, but the truth is that over time, things will compound on each other. And after all of this time, all of this effort, and all of these hours of incessant work, it's understandable that something had to give. This is something that I really want to change going forward, even if I'm still not sure how to fix it completely. I think that when we set out to do something that's really meaningful to us, we might kind of disregard the fact that we're just human. Like, I've talked about how I've used my emotions to the benefit of my art and ultimately my work. After all, we're artists and there's always some emotion in what we do. But it's a completely different conversation when you have painful emotions that ultimately come from your work and affect the way you function as a human being. We all know what anxiety is, and I bet you might deal with it on a daily basis too. But the scary thing is I've dealt with it pretty much my whole life, including when I was a kid, when I had some physical symptoms that were only attributed to anxiety in retrospective, but now it's been a little bit different. Growing up to be doing what I've always wanted to do has been really enlightening. It has been my main focus in life for the past few years, and honestly something I've had in my mind since at least like middle school. And I feel like I've learned so much about myself since then. In the end, having everything you've ever wanted isn't necessarily a good thing if you don't have anything else. And I regret not thinking about my life that way when I was younger, because I remember always being so anxious and scared of the future. But now I kind of have that future, even if it's not absolutely guaranteed, but not all of the fun, hobbies, friends, and experiences I had back then. I hope I'm not being too negative or anything. I just really want to be fully honest and transparent in case you've been through something similar before. I think it's something I could have been told back then, but I'm just glad to know it now. I've been so focused on becoming an artist that I think I've neglected the parts of me that make me me in some ways. And the only way to change that is to find a balance. The perfectionist in me wants to give my goals and dreams an absolute 100%. But if I'm not doing so well mentally and at this point physically, my new goal might be to be happier as a human and not just as an artist. And that means maybe reserving 20% of my efforts into getting some new hobbies, playing games, traveling more, spending more time with my loved ones. And if that means I get less returns on my dreams, so be it, right? At least I'm happier. There's also this irony to this situation where I know that I can create my best work when I'm feeling my best, when I'm the happiest, when I'm the most relaxed, and just excited to be creative. But maybe that just means that, we can't be creative all the time. We can't force it too much. We need to listen to our feelings and to our bodies more and be in tune with our experiences throughout our lives instead of just forcing ourselves to do the same things, even when it's just a little bit too much for us. Have you felt that way too? Where you're so hyper-focused on something, you kind of forget to eat and go outside. You feel like you're in a daze and you slowly forget what you ate yesterday, what day you're supposed to do something, which day of the week it is. That's definitely not a healthy or fulfilling way to live our lives. But lately, I'm happy to say I've been making that 20% switch slowly these past few months. I started posting a little bit less to give myself time to really create the art that I want. I've been more flexible with my schedule and have even been trying to be more understanding of my own needs, which sometimes means to actually stop working and go for a walk. I'm always cooped up in my office, my brain doesn't shut off from work, and I feel really guilty if I'm not giving it 100% all the time. And even though I'm so proud of the progress I did in my art, in my journey, and everything that I've been doing, especially on Patreon, which has genuinely been so much fun and rewarding, I slowly realized that I didn't have one thing I wanted to do just for fun, and that's not okay. I think it's really something I got from my childhood, but it's really not selfish or lazy to want to feel relaxed, to have fun, to not think about your responsibilities, to take a nap, or to just exist if that's what you want to do. I think that the work culture, which really just became the existing on this earth culture, has really convinced us that we're not valid if we don't have anything to show for it, which turns out it's really not true. It's really ironic that being creative doesn't just come from within ourselves, like this magical thing that just happens out of nowhere. It definitely can be at times, don't get me wrong, but if you have a creative job, you know that there is more to it. This is something I always knew, but slowly with time started to kind of forget or at least take for granted. I always knew that part of my creativity came from things that were outside of me, like movies, TV shows, other people's art, music, life experiences, and so on. So how did I get stuck on a loop where I thought that when I was having issues with my creativity, I thought that the answer was to just sit down and try harder? There's definitely something to be said about resilience and pushing through the times where you're really not feeling creative. And it's true that it can be a skill to search for ideas and inspiration before you feel inspired to start. But there's also a limit to that, where the real solution is to go live your life and relax a little bit. I feel like I just wasn't practicing what I preach, and I don't really know how I got there in the first place. So I always talk about not pressuring yourself and being kind to yourself, but somehow I got there, where I got right back to the beginning of my journey, where I was feeling very anxious, indecisive, insecure, and confused as well. Thankfully, I have gotten better with time. Like I mentioned before, I've started to be a little bit more flexible with my work, or at least try to so far. And lately, it's been the biggest realization that if you're struggling, it's okay to stop. I know we're all struggling with our own things right now, and there's this doom feeling wherever we look. So I feel like creativity has become a harder thing to pursue and explore. But it's okay, and at this point, even encouraged to give yourself a break. Be understanding of your own struggles and show yourself some kindness. What does burnout mean to you? Because to me, I always thought it was just a very serious and bad situation where you're just very tired from constantly working and need to take a break. But what I realized this year is that it actually might go a lot deeper than that. Now, I'm okay, and I'm not sure if I'm out of it yet, but I've definitely been through it this year, and I'd like to share my thoughts on it because it was different from what I expected it to be. And I know that everyone feels things differently, so I hope that this can be helpful or at least insightful to share. Burnout to me was kind of emptiness. Like, I still drew, I posted, I worked and managed to do everything I needed to do. I still had pleasant times and things to be proud of, but they all sort of became this fog that I couldn't really make out. A lot of things also happened in my personal life, which I didn't take a break when I needed to. And I also moved very recently, which was incredibly stressful. I took on more work than I should have, I think. And in the end, I was just exhausted. I know that these were mostly my choices, but there was this underlying feeling that something wasn't okay, and I couldn't really see what it was. And slowly, I became really tired all of the time. I actually used to joke around that I never took naps and I couldn't understand how people could take naps, like it wasn't physically possible in my mind. And here I was now falling asleep in the middle of the afternoon by mistake, just trying to take like a 15-minute break and legitimately falling asleep. It was really strange and scary. There was no fun in anything really. And I would plan going to the movies with my partner, having a special meal, playing games, watching movies, which I love to do so much. But it never felt like anything. It didn't fill me up with creativity anymore. It felt empty and just made me more tired. So in my head, any activity just summoned this idea in my head that maybe I should just be sleeping. If I'm not having fun, if I'm not being productive, then I might as well just be asleep. And the thing is, it sounds bad just saying it like that, but it was so gradual over months and months that I didn't see it coming until it was too late. And then it moved on to physical pain, brain fog, and a lot of emotional imbalances where I just didn't recognize what was happening in my body. It felt so confusing. I guess I was being really productive. To all intents and purposes, I was doing great and stuff was getting done quickly and well enough, so I kept going like that for a while until I realized I was in pain and I needed to make some changes. So on a good note, let me share with you the things that have been helping me these past few months. I started going on more hikes. I love being in nature and moving my body, so I did more this year than I did in the last 3 years combined. I challenged myself and my partner, and that was generally some of the highlights of my year. There's just something so special about being in nature on a sunny day, bringing my sketchbook if I can, but not even drawing if I don't feel like it. Just sweating, meeting people along the way, saying hi, finding the most beautiful scenery, getting lost along the way. There's something about that I just love, and I'm so happy that I've been doing it more. Something else that's been really helpful, this guy. I don't know if I need to say more than that, but we adopted this little guy a few months ago, and it's just been such a breath of fresh air. This is Nino, and he spent the first year of his life in a shelter, which was really sad to hear. So when we adopted him, we really had to give him some time to warm up to us. But now that it's been a few months, it's so rewarding to see him truly be himself and be so happy with us. He brought back to my life some of the playfulness and some of the fun that I had lost. It's like a little kid that you just run around with and cuddle up with at the end of the night, and I love him so much and I'm so grateful for him. Moving. Even though it was an incredibly stressful thing to do, it was for the better. We've been struggling in all of the places we've lived so far, and this is essentially the forever home we've been fighting for years. All the pressure and reasons to work so much was to get here, feeling safe and more comfortable in our own home, and we're here now. And every second of it has been just magical and surreal, truly. We had to sacrifice so many things, so many experiences, so much comfort and even safety along the way. just to get here. So it feels like a dream, and I'm grateful again. This calendar, despite it being a lot of work and stress, it has been written down in my note for years before I even had a substantial following. So this is just crazy. I cried when they arrived, and I'm not really worried about anything else. I just hope everything goes well, the products turned out well, and that the amazing people that get one are happy with them. But I just did it, and it feels super rewarding. It's a limited edition product, so we're only going to be selling it until maybe the end of December. So I'm going to be very present and make sure that everything goes well. But other than that, to me, in my heart, it's just a win. Patreon. Patreon has been a game changer for me this year. Now, I can joke about how many times I've talked about it with my partner before I even opened this page. Years ago, he was telling me that I should open it and just give it my best. And I always said it was too early, people didn't care, I didn't have anything to show. I was very insecure and scared. And I finally opened it this year. I was so nervous, still am at times. But the reality is, it's been amazing. It's been a rewarding and safe space where I can really share what I do, put it all out there, listen to your feedback, talk to you more personally. Like, I get to see your names. If you just roam around secretly and don't show your face, maybe I haven't seen you. But if you've been commenting frequently, like, I know you. Even on Discord, it's so much fun to get to know you guys and find this community that feels so safe and inviting for everyone. I'm so glad that we were able to build this together, and it feels great to work towards something that's like a library of valuable work, that it's there, safe, and it's going to stay there. Social media has always kind of felt like something that's just always on the move. Everything that I do, I might work 2 days on something that I'm really excited about. I post it, and then it's just gone. It's difficult, and it's a different scenario. But Patreon feels like I'm creating books and adding them to the shelves of a library, and anyone who wants to come in just buys the ticket and hangs out for the month. And that's so much fun. I want to keep working on it. I want to do even bigger and better things next year. I'm already thinking about doing different things, and I'm a little bit nervous because they are ambitious, but I'm also really excited and very thankful for all your support. Because to my patrons, if you hadn't been this nice and kind to me and supportive and given me constructive feedback and help, this wouldn't be the space that it is today. So thank you. Games. Now, I used to play video games growing up. I used to love shooters. I learned it from my big brother, and I kind of lost all of that love along the way. I focused on drawing and other creative outlets, and I keep hearing all of the news about games. I love following everything on YouTube, but I just don't play anything. And at this point, after all of these years, I don't even know what type of games I like. So I have this chance now of trying all these different types of games, and I'm so excited. That also goes for all different types of hobbies. I really want to give myself the chance to try new things, new creative things and outlets that I think are interesting but are just not productive. That's my issue. It's always been. If it's not a productive thing to do, it's just wasting my time. It's not even considered fun, and that's wrong, A big mental shift. Now, this is a real one, and it's gonna sound silly if you don't resonate with it, so brace yourself. The real thing is, I've always wanted to be an artist, and that's a very real dream, like in the movies. It's what I've always wanted to do, what I've always worked towards. All of the struggles, all of the hard decisions, all of the sacrifices, it's all always been towards this is my dream and what I want to do. And getting here and struggling at times, and also not having it guaranteed for the rest of my life, it's a constant switch here and there, trying to find the best place to place myself in, trying to stay relevant and interesting, trying to stay helpful and creative, and renewing this energy to keep people interested. And keep them having fun and entertained and happy. It's not what I thought was being an artist. I knew I wanted to be one, but I didn't know what it was. And I feel like there are so many different ways of being an artist, and this is just the one I found for myself. But when I'm anxious and I'm afraid of losing what I have, I start being a little bit different with how I make my choices. I'm not as courageous, I'm not as ambitious, I'm not as creative. The biggest thing that's been helping me mentally and helping my anxiety, my self-worth even, is realizing that yes, I am an artist and I got here, but this is a job. I will always be an artist, and I'm okay if things don't work out. It's still very hard to feel that way. It feels very dramatic if you haven't felt like that about anything, in particular. But to me, it feels very real. I know that I'll be okay. I like myself. I'm married to the best person I know. But this has been the big shift. I will be okay. So if one drawing doesn't turn out as well, if one YouTube video doesn't turn out as well, I will always pivot, just as I have before so many times in so many things. But my mental health and our mental health should come first, right? No matter what goals you set for yourself or the dreams that you've always meant to follow, just remember that there's so much more to life. And the only way to be happy is to have lots of different little parts that make it great. Anxiety kind of doesn't let me live my dream fully, and it's so silly, but it truly has helped me to see just how much more than one thing we need to be truly happy. No matter what your dream is, what your ultimate goal is, there's so much more to life. Within that thought, there's something that I've been meaning to do for a while, and I've been so scared, like that frozen scared to do it, that I never did it, but I will soon, which is take a break. I haven't taken an actual break from drawing and posting in 2 years. It's been constant. I'm always worrying. I'm always looking at my phone, and I need to take a little bit of a break. It's nothing too dramatic. Everyone does it. It's crazy. Like if I had a job, I'd just take my vacation, but I just haven't here. And I think I will soon. I'll take an entire month off to work a little bit on myself. But before that, I'm really excited about Christmas and about these last few months of the year. There's so much that I still want to do. There's going to be a couple more monthly challenges, which, if it's going to bring Christmas, it's always going to be fun to do. I'm finishing up on the few different projects. The calendar is finally out. Everything is okay. I'm excited for what's to come. I'm excited for my break as well, even though I'm really nervous and I don't know how it's gonna go, but I need it and the world's gonna keep spinning. Bottom line is, I'm grateful. I love to draw. I love my job, and it's gonna keep going like that. But this is also an opportunity to take a look at what's important to me, what I value the most, and really reconsider my choices and the trajectory that I'm taking in my life, Have you ever felt that way as well? It's almost not about just art at this point. It's about life, about our choices, about finding happiness in the things that we love, realizing that sometimes happiness is just way much more than what we thought it was. What do you think? So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was too negative at times. I just hope it was honest and sincere. And if you have any thoughts about it, please leave them down below. I love reading all of the comments here on YouTube. You guys are amazing. I love hearing your stories and your perspective and your experience. There's always so much to learn about everyone. It's incredible. I hope you are happy and safe and healthy and choosing every day to show yourself some kindness. And we'll talk very soon. Thank you for watching.